Next is a discussion and vote a resolution for a special election. This resolution, which is attached to the agenda, this resolution's purpose is to make clear the unanimous agreement by this council to proceed with implementing a special election to fill the Commissioner of Department of Public Works vacancy with all the speed that prudence allows. Per the charter, the Commissioner of Accounts will take on this responsibility for implementing the election, and this resolution will provide him with the broadest authority to proceed, including a selection of a date. We want an election that is lawful and gives adequate notice to all electors. I put this in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now, is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm definitely not voting for this. Frankly, I think some of the language utilized in this is, given what I understand to be the games that you're playing with pushing this election out, at the notion that we do this with all due reasonable speed or something like that, it's really comical.
Yeah, that's not part of the resolution.
Oh, okay. Well, you were reading the resolution, I thought. I have a resolution to set an election date. I have provided everybody at the table with the calendar that supports that election date, as well as the template that we use to set the given steps that occur during an election. Some build off of the proclamation date, which would be this evening. Some either carry forward or back from the election date, depending on the scenario. Obviously, an event that would occur before would be military ballots are set out 45 days before, and then they're received X amount of dates after Election Day. So all of those various things are delineated on a template, and then one which is set up for October 28th, which is what I will be bringing forward on my agenda. So I'll be voting no on this.
Did you say October?
I'm sorry, January 28th. Yeah, October 28th. Sorry.
Okay, so that's the discussion. Is there any more discussion on my resolution?
Yeah, I believe this resolution and Commissioner Moran, your resolution are consistent, so I plan on voting yes for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, my purpose in writing this is to make sure you know that we are totally for you moving ahead and doing this and behind you. So if you don't want to vote for it, it's fine.
Commissioner Moran, can you explain in further detail your issues with this motion? And I'll read it to you if you don't mind, since I believe I couldn't follow when Mr. Safford was reading it either. So it says here, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Saratoga Springs, New York, as follows. Whereas circumstances have occurred that have caused a vacancy in the office of the Commissioner of Public Works, this council recognizes its responsibility to act to fill that vacancy as soon as reasonably possible, according to the best interests of the public and the applicable law. Whereas the council has been advised that a special election may be conducted to fill the vacancy in office, and the council separately and apart from any procedures that it may use to fill the vacancy on a temporary basis, now wishes to initiate lawful procedures for the conducting of that special election. Whereas the City Council hereby resolves as follows. The City Council hereby authorizes the Commissioner of Accounts to work with the Saratoga County Board of Elections in establishing a lawful and proper schedule for the conducting of said special election. The Council recognizes the intent in the New York State Constitution and the New York State Public Officers Law and the New York State Election Law to conduct elections in a manner that is fair to all individuals regardless of partisan affiliation and to give adequate and reasonable notice to all electors. The Council directs that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Saratoga County Board of Elections.
And the only thing I read in that is Dylan's the one who gets sued. So I see myself getting kicked out on the plank, and that's why I'm not in favor of this. I've been in favor of us having an election since we knew Jason was leaving in July. Was repeatedly told we're not going to have an election. I was recently told it was intentional that certain members of this council pushed the election past November because it was smart politics. So if anybody wants to talk about fairness to everyone, regardless of partisan affiliation, I reject that wholesale coming from you, sir.
Well, the only purpose of this, I've already told you that I'm going to vote for yours because we want to move forward. This was just a way to put into writing the fact that I am totally in
Now.
favor of moving forward with this election.
Now that it suits your purposes.
Yeah, I mean, you were asking for us all to be involved in this, and I thought that this resolution would do that. I mean, it's fine, and we can take a vote, but this resolution, as far as my intention, was to make it very clear we're behind you doing this. So,
Is it possible that I could get Mr. Izo or Mr. Harper to give some thoughts on this? I feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry, I'm telling you where I'm coming from. I feel uncomfortable voting sorry, is there an issue?
no more than, no, go ahead.
I feel uncomfortable voting for something if the commissioner who's, sort of named in the resolution is saying he's uncomfortable with it. But again, giving everybody a nonpartisan, benefit of the doubt here, I also understand that Mr. Moran has been asking for a similar resolution from the city, saying that, the city supports it and is behind it. So I'm trying to figure out, is there a situation in which this somehow becomes a situation where Mr. Moran can be sued?
Well, I mean, you can never predict what kind of lawsuit may take shape. The resolution, as I understand it, is an act of the city council, and the votes will be indicated in the record. No one member of the city council is initiating this and voting on it unilaterally. It's an act of the council. It would seem likely to me, and again, I say this with all reservations because you never know who's going to sue what for who, who's going to sue what for what, who's going to sue who for what. But we have, it's not as though one council member was unilaterally establishing this resolution. The council is establishing it. The powers of the respective council members are in the charter. Well, your question seems to me to be, is likely one council member will be singled out for litigation? Seems unlikely, since it's the council that's going to be on this.
Yeah, I mean, our intention is certainly, it's just that the charter does give you, as clerk,
So it's
the
redundant.
management of an election, and that's why I'm,
Seems likely that all members of the council would be sued in their official capacities.
I don't, my intention is certainly not to, I mean, I'm going to vote, I'm making a commitment now to vote for your resolution. I mean, if we don't pass this, it's still going to go.
So table this.
Well, I'm not going to table it. We'll take a vote on it, and if it gets, fine. We can, tonight, with your resolution, we can move ahead. That's all I care about. I want to move ahead.
Yep, and I care about not walking out of this room with another bullseye on me for one of your buddies to file a lawsuit and one of these people to criticize me because I choose attorneys who are good at their job.
Well,
If you have two
Different
resolutions
issues.
that are complementary and that don't
Different
conflict
issues.
with each other,
So, thank you, Tony. I'll call a vote on my resolution here as it was read by the commissioner. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, so it passes.